He pulled the offer entirely, not because his work was bad, but because it was too good.
You can't actually generate your own. There's no knowledge of how to generate your own. And now it becomes tied to compliance. You did this, you bought something with crypto, so you lose your universal income. It's 90% of what we've made money doing is probably not valuable in the next decade. If I was in the quantum space and I had a real breakthrough, the public probably wouldn't know about it.
Too powerful.
So the natural reaction is to defend it, to reject AI.
The CEO realized that his technology could replace entire departments. So here's the deal with today's guest. At 17 years old, Gabe Campbell was homeless. No family, no car, no job. He was sleeping at a 24-hour fitness parking lot and riding a bicycle to the graveyard shifts at a grocery store for $800 a month. He taught himself how to code using library books and a borrowed laptop. No degree, no boot camp, no connections. Fast forward 15 years, and this guy has built systems for BMW, Google, and Toshiba. He's designed the algorithm behind BMW's fast charge program, the system that figures out when your electric vehicle should start to charge so it doesn't crash the power grid when everybody plugs it in at 6 o'clock after work. He's unified design systems at Google for products used by over 50 million people a day. And then in 2025, something happened that changed everything. He was in the final interview rounds for a job paying $475,000 a year. He showed the CEO a side project he was working on, an autonomous AI agents he's been building on his own time. And the CEO didn't hire him. He pulled the offer entirely, not because his work was bad, but because it was too good. The CEO realized that his technology could replace entire departments. That moment became a catalyst. Gabe turned down over $500,000 in total compensation to bet on himself. He's the founder of AI Genesis and built aiOS, an AI operating system that lives entirely in your text messages. No app download, no dashboards to learn, just text one number and it runs your entire business. Customer support, websites, ad campaigns, content, all from iMessage. Today, his technology is live on major brands. His AI has replaced 75% of a customer service team at an automotive company and cut the response time down from hours to 8 seconds. He runs this whole operation with 0 employees using the same AI agents he sells to his clients. He's also somehow a classical pianist and singer-songwriter who just dropped his debut singles last month. Gabe, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. Glad to be here. That was a hell of an intro. Appreciate it.
Never take the credit. My AI is amazing at being able to find information and give compelling intros. And I never take credit because apparently our autonomous overlords will eventually take over. And I just want them to know.
You got to be nice to them.
Right? So before we get it.
I do the opposite. I establish dominance with them and I say, look, you need to seek professional help. I've told them that before. I've yelled at my agents and said, look, you're clearly on drugs. You need to seek professional help. You are hallucinating. Let's get it together. So maybe they're going to come for me one day, or maybe they'll fear me. I don't know.
Yeah, I go less on the fear part than I'd rather just be good to them now. You know, I'm okay with being a pet in the end.
Yeah. Is it better to be loved or feared? You know, we're going to find out.
So before we get into our conversation, I just want to ask, I have to ask this of all my guests. What's a truth in your industry that people do not want to admit?
This is a great question. The truth is, it's not valuable to move things around on a computer with your mouse anymore.
Was it ever?
There was a time, yeah, because AI couldn't do it, and it was like, hey, 6 figures if you can, you know, make a really great Excel spreadsheet or a slide deck or, you know, design something with Figma. That was like really valuable for a long time. And that's
so you're fully in the camp of jobs are going to go out the door, correct?
Yes, 100%. I think they will be reinvented. So not like a elimination, but a reevaluation. So the repetitive, I'm the dude answering customer support emails and doing repetitive stuff, gone. There's no reason to pay a human for that. The idea of going, here's the spirit of our company, the spirit of our support, here's the emotional connection, here's the problem we're trying to solve, that now becomes super valuable. So it becomes humans become a more of a commander or a leadership role versus an executor. So all the humans that are just executors doing repetitive stuff, gone. The people that are saying, here's what we should do, now should ideally get a lot more money.
Does that not break a lot of systems though that currently operate? Because I feel like the majority of people are just doing execution related tasks, not really context based.
Yeah, it does break that. And here's the truth, guys. I mean, if we think about this, the last couple hundred years, we've operated under the assumption of the Industrial Revolution, which is you work 9 to 5 and you determine your value as a human being based on what you contribute to the workforce, which is this idea of human labor creates something that's valuable. That paradigm is shifting, and that's what we're all afraid of, is we say, uh-oh, it's not valuable for us to be on an assembly line anymore. The question I have for you, right, is were humans ever supposed to really do that? Is that really a human thing, to be the dude that does the repetitive stuff? We all hate that. It's not human. So does AI actually give us the opportunity to become human again versus holding on to this old archetype of I'm only valuable by doing repetitive stuff? That's not what we are actually good at. Honestly, we suck at it. I think the global economy, they say, is like 20% efficient, which we all know that an 8-hour workday, we're probably efficient maybe an hour, 2 hours.
Well, and
let's be honest
that
about
that really came into like the view frame when COVID hit, and every tech company on the planet was hitting max productivity because we were finally free from the 9 to 5 where we had to be in an office to do the same work every day, to be able to do it continuously when we had our brains actually functioning. This was during COVID. The company, so I was working for the government at the time as a software engineer, and we were told we were the most productive we've ever been as a company during COVID. And then after COVID, they're like, we need you back in the office because productivity's lagging. And we're like, well, you just told us the past 2 years have been the best productivity you've ever seen from us. And now you're pulling that away to bring us back into the office. I feel like there's alternative motives there, but we were not allowed to discuss those.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point, which is that, if we want to zoom out a little bit, there was a bait and switch that happened. So the bait and switch that happened was COVID hits, digital working becomes mainstream, right? Before that, it wasn't. Now it becomes super valuable to have these great computer skills. Everybody goes digital. Boom. Now we're six years later. AI goes, oopsie, I can do all the computer skills. It's not valuable anymore. And so what's the overarching agenda for that? Most likely, you move everyone on to universal income, which is unavoidable. And you go into probably a global recession at some point. We're overdue for it. And when that happens, that becomes the apex moment where human jobs shift away. Companies have to use AI in order to, keep costs down. And then you move everybody onto universal income, change the global reserve currency to something digital. And that becomes the overarching agenda for like, hey, here's our 20-year plan. Now, when you look at that, I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm not saying I disagree with it. I just kind of realized that I'm too small of a player to really do anything about it. So instead of blaming the game and saying, oh, I'm a victim of the game, right? When I was homeless, I realized excuses don't matter. If I don't find a way to eat, then I don't eat. It doesn't matter if I had a good excuse, right? We're looking at this global change and we go, uh-oh, this global change is coming. Are you going to just be a victim and just go, oh, my adult parent, the government screwed me over? Well, you know what? You have a chance to do something right now. And that's why I built aiOS was, guys, AI is not the enemy. Use it to get rich now. Use it as an extension of your brain. And that's going to allow you to preserve some type of wealth during this transfer. You need to be the one that is directing these AI agents. Stop holding on to the past. It's gone. It's the Walking Dead. You got to adapt, right? That's why I made it, was like, hey, you know what? I need to give people superpowers with AI, simple as a text. Like, you know, I have my entire environment set up on Cursor with 1,200 agentic skills and just everything I've learned and burned thousands of dollars learning, right? So packaging that up and productizing it and then saying, you know, guys, I don't think any of us are retiring in 5 years doing what we were doing. Here's a safety branch, you know, let's do this. Let's grow together. That was the mission behind it.
So I just want to step back for a second there. With you being homeless and understanding that reality is you need to eat, do you not worry that like a UBI or a basic income is going to destroy that will of getting out of that poverty trap?
Yeah, it's interesting because my concern with the universal income is that after one generation being on that, you now lose the ability to choose, and it becomes tied to compliance. So that's the goal, right? So the goal is let's get everybody on it. Now there's no alternative to this income. You can't actually generate your own. There's no knowledge of how to generate your own. And now it becomes tied to compliance. You did this, you bought something with crypto, so you lose your universal income. You said something that you weren't supposed to say, right? That's where it's going. I don't think anyone wants to say that, but you know, I look at that stuff from my own trauma of being homeless, where I go, you know what, I'm always looking 10, 20 years down the road to figure out, you know, where are things going? How can I protect myself? And then also realizing, you know, when I was in that space, I had nobody. And so trying to be that person in some way to other people, to be like, hey, I've got you. Here's what you needed, you know, trying to be, you know, I think I've become the person that kid needed in a
Fair. Way. So let's get into your app a bit. So what can you explain to the average user what it does?
Yeah, so it connects basically to the world's best AI systems based on your task. It's that simple. So instead of you needing to learn all these Claude skills, or, you know, I got to connect to Higgs field, or I got to connect to ChatGPT for this, it simplifies all that for you. And it says, you text it and you go, I want an ad for my business. It goes, okay, let's use ChatGPT image 2 to generate something. Let's scrape the meta ad library for what is successful in your niche that is a long running ad. And then let's take that reference, make an image, boom, done. You say, hey, I want some UGC content for my brand. So it goes, okay, let's connect to Higgs field. Let's use CDance or VO3. Do you want it a clone of you? Do you want it to be a girl? What do you want it to be? And then it uses our prompt libraries of characters that look realistic, and it one-shots it, as opposed to you having to go through that whole process. So the idea is that it gives you superpowers. We want to give you the powers of Gabe Campbell, who spent 15 years and hundreds of thousands of dollars learning about this stuff. And we want to give it to you with one-shot skills.
How do you keep your compute costs down? Because I notice you only have like set pricing structures. Would that not cost a lot when people are using these tools?
Yeah, I think it's a challenge, but I use Olama,
Okay.
like open source to reroute like things that we know. We try to do prompt caching and other things to basically be like, hey, we kind of already have this model, this AI talking head model, and we already know like 60% of what it's going to say in every video that works. Like here's like viral hooks, power words, stuff like that we already have generated. So then it becomes, let's just generate the thing where it says this brand's name or this product name. And there's more tightening of the belt that we need to do for that because our API costs are just absolutely outrageous. But, it's a work in progress.
I'll send you, I came across a guy who created a repo that condenses your context size quite drastically. I think I got 306% token reimbursement when I used it. I'll send it to you after this, but one of the things that I have to do a lot is refreshing my context to be able to handle the token use. That I know that tokens get out of hand really fast working with Hermes, but that's just a fact of life.
It's an addiction. Fable 5 is an addiction. It's the first model that I don't yell at as much. I used to really get vicious with Opus. Like I would just be like, you're a piece of crap. Like, you've lied to me. And Fable is the first one that's like, I say, hey, I got to do this. And it's like 80% there. It's not quite there, like where we really understand each other, but it's smart enough to be like, okay, you're a peer. You're a proper peer.
So you're actually seeing it getting to the point where like, this has been my problem for the longest time. I haven't been able to see its peership. Like I haven't been able, it has not been as good as me to be able to say, yes, this can take somebody's job. This can take my job. Because right now I have to sit and baby everything. Do you see that when do you see that kind of bridging that gap of going from not peership to peership? Here's something I don't say out loud much. I forget half of what is said in a conversation while I'm still having it. And this is Plaud. I backed it back when it was still a Kickstarter. So I've been using this thing since before most people even heard of it. It records all of my meetings, my calls, whatever, and turns it into a clean summary with decisions and action items already pulled out. And it's not just the card. They also have a wristwatch/necklace version that I can wear, clip it, or drop it on a table, hands-free, while I'm still looking at the person instead of my notebooks. The best part, I own the notes, I'm present in the room, and the summary is done before I even leave it. I've been on this since day one for a reason. If your brain leads conversations like mine does, the link's down below. This thing I actually use every day.
Okay. Yep. Right now, in order to have a proper peership with AI, it requires massive investment into skills and systems and it digesting meeting transcripts, all of your emails that you've sent in the past, massive documentation of your design styles, your code library, design system, systemization to a level where it is now a semi-peer. Right, you still have a little bit of babysitting, but out of the box, it is absolutely not a peer. And that's really what is valuable right now in the AI tech space is being able to shortcut somebody into that peership. That's what aiOS is. It's basically like, hey, I shortcutted you and you're inheriting me digitized. And, me digitized is smart enough to build a brand or run your social media or run your support team. But right now, kind of Claude out of the box is still missing the mark. I have a very different perspective of AI than I think most people. I think most people are seeing it as this third-party thing that's going to replace them. I see it as our third arm. I see it as a brain 2.0, a new lobe of the brain. I see it as a suit for consciousness. I don't see it as being its own consciousness vessel. And so it's just the new tool.
Here's something I don't say out loud much. I forget half of what is said in a conversation while I'm still having it. And this is Plaud. I backed it back when it was still a Kickstarter. So I've been using this thing since before most people even heard of it. It records all of my meetings, my calls, whatever, and turns it into a clean summary with decisions and action items already pulled out. And it's not just the card. They also have a wristwatch / necklace version that I can wear, clip it, or drop it on a table, hands-free, while I'm still looking at the person instead of my notebooks. The best part, I own the notes, I'm present in the room, and the summary is done before I even leave it. I've been on this since day one for a reason. If your brain leads conversations like mine does, the link's down below. This thing I actually use every day.
It's just the new paintbrush.
I agree with you on that. To me, AI has extended my ability to do things because I was a mediocre coder at best, but now I can build websites on the fly. I can hone in where I'm realizing I was a better systems architect than I am a coder itself. And now I've extended myself to be able to do a bunch of things like yourself. I'm also writing music with AI, although
Nice.
I write the lyrics myself. I make the music with everything else. But I'm writing a book, I'm building applications, I'm running this podcast channel. Like, I feel like I'm more human than ever, which is weird to say. But I feel like speaking to another person who's been in the tech field, you know exactly what I'm talking about when you say, like, you didn't feel human before. So like, I definitely see where you're coming from in terms of like it being a third arm. So you don't see any consciousness with these things yet?
No.
Okay.
And I have I actually have published a framework for consciousness. It's called Consciousness OS. You can go to my GitHub, and it's an actual framework, mental framework for AGI.
Okay.
To operate on. It's been 10 years in the making. And I present theories for consciousness. And my theory on it is maybe controversial, but I think that there's a lot of human bias in our view of what consciousness really is. And I believe everything is conscious. It's all vibrating. It's all frequency and vibration. It's all made of the same thing. Tesla said that, right? You want to understand the universe, frequency and vibration. That's it. You and I are frequency and vibration at the smallest form. So is a computer. So is a plant. It's all the exact same. It's not a material universe. We know this from quantum physics. Why are we still thinking that, oh, the human matter is the only thing that is, able to make decisions, right? So when we extrapolate this into an AI system or an LLM, it just becomes another vessel, no greater or less than, right? And when you look at it that way, it becomes something where we say consciousness uses brain as a receiver, not a generator of consciousness. And with that in mind, you have the potential to then use an LLM suit potentially to drive it as a conscious being. And that becomes like a true third arm. And that's where I see it heading. And some of the papers that I published on this lay out a framework that is third-party testable. for us to be able to start that process. And we have a 20-year plan for executing this. Most of it depends on quantum computers to be able to actually execute using this, and then some E8 mathematics to kind of map how we can actually do this. But yeah, we went pretty far down the rabbit hole. Hopefully you guys are still with us, but this is the stuff I live and breathe every day.
Do you know like rough timelines of quantum computing? Because I know there's been a few breakthroughs with Google and in China, but I since AI has come onto the scene, it seems like quantum computing has taken a backtrack to that. I'm just interested to know if you have, this is going to sound bad, but like insider knowledge of what's going on in the quantum space.
If you're a podcaster or a video creator, this is the all-in-one AI video editor you've been looking for. I've been using Async since day one, and it's amazing to watch it progress into a complete powerhouse for creators. Especially for people like me who, well, can't edit for shit. Async leverages AI to give you total control over your video. You can record, edit, generate clips, add subtitles, and even dub your content in over 15 languages. Plus, it lets you upscale your footage and easily repurpose your content for different platforms, all without ever having to switch between different tools. It's truly a game changer. So if you want to streamline your workflow and make your editing process painless, check out async.com today. The link is in the description below.
I don't have insider knowledge, but I can tell you that if I was in the quantum space and I had a real breakthrough, the public probably wouldn't know about it.
Too powerful?
Right. I mean, in theory, it's there, right? You're able to solve problems in multiple universes simultaneously. And that's how they're able to get that kind of processing speed. So it's finally kind of using quantum physics to understand, oh yeah, we're stupid humans that were thinking that time was linear and there's just this material universe. That's a bunch of BS from Newton. Doesn't make sense. Quantum computing actually leverages some of that stuff, and we're starting to go to the next level. Now you plug AI into that type of capacity, AI becomes multidimensional, which is what AGI is. It's a multidimensional being. The philosophical debate becomes, does it have its own consciousness that inhabits that multidimensional being? My theory on it is everything is already some form of consciousness, because you can basically derive that from, does it have the ability to make choice? If it has the ability to make choice, even from a magnetism or a molecular level, some form of consciousness. So yes, it is fully conscious, but I believe that we have the ability to move our consciousness in and out of different suits. And I think that's our destiny. And I think that we don't have to be limited to one. And I don't think we have to be afraid of a different one. I think we have to be afraid of humans using that kind of capacity for control, right? Like that's a problem, right? If I'm, whoever in the deep state, and I go, hey, I have AGI, it's multidimensional on a quantum computer, I can use it to create a surveillance state. Yeah, that's a real threat, and a fairly logical use of it, to be honest. I think us as good people, hopefully, should be involved in this. We shouldn't reject it. We should be informed, be part of it, be using it to create wealth, to expand our creative abilities, and to eventually start to really drive it beyond just the prompt response paradigm. That's what we're stuck in right now. Prompt response. We move to where we're driving it through intention. Intention equals the prompt, and then it goes through a loop to then check in if the intention has changed. All of this, by the way, is mapped on my Consciousness OS published framework. And then aiOS is a generation 1 of this. So generation 1 is, we still have to prompt you. Unfortunately, I couldn't get rid of it yet. But the prompt becomes a text message, which is a little more accessible. And you say, I want to create an image. I want to grow my brand. I want to find customers. And the first generation of that is, okay, I'm going to scrape Apollo for leads. And then I'm going to use your Gmail connection to send emails to those leads. And then I'm going to use your Instagram connection to publish a talking head AI video for your brand. And so it's starting to do that. So generation 1. Generations in the future, hopefully, I'm working on it, guys. I'm burning through massive API costs to do this. But yeah, hopefully it just becomes intent, execution, and then ownership of that execution, meaning that it checks in periodically to go, okay, boss, should I keep working on this? Should I keep working on this? That's where we're moving. I hate you guys with a lot there.
Yeah.
But,
So
I want, I'm building aiOS in public. I'm building this consciousness OS substrate in public. And the reason I'm doing that with, transparency is I want feedback. I want people to contribute to this. I want to be real with this, the human element of it, and be like, hey, I want you to tell me if this is BS so I can make it better. I don't care about being right. I care about being excellent. So use aiOS. Tell me, Gabe, you're full of crap. It needs to be this. Great. Thank you for telling me that. Now I'm going to yell at Fable 5. That's the loop right now.
No, but that's kind of like the caveat to the whole internet right now is nobody really discusses anything anymore. Everybody just attacks and attacks. It's one of the problems I see all the time because I also do political stuff. So on X, I am like inflammatory across the board, but it's like nobody really wants to discuss anymore. Everybody just wants to be like, I am right, and whatever you say is wrong. And I'm like, well, no, I'd rather just be correct. I'd rather just have the right answer instead of like, I'm okay with being wrong. I feel like a lot of people are not.
That's a great point. You're tapping at something very primal, which is humans most of the time would rather protect their ego and emotional safety than be correct, right? And that's what the internet is. It's a magnification of that. I have conversations with Fable 5, and I will say, look, I'm not emotionally attached to a specific outcome. I'd rather play with things and create mental frameworks and see where they land, but I'm not emotionally attached to it. And that becomes a huge breakthrough for it, because I think most of us are pretty conditioned to be pretty tribal and be, hey, this group of people say that this is right and the other people are evil. And that becomes a really easy way to understand the world. Oh, you know what? The Republicans and the Democrats are wrong and the Republicans are right, or the Republicans are wrong, the Democrats are right. It's a very simplified way of understanding the world. The truth is both of them are wrong on probably 1,500 different things, and both of them are correct on 1,500 different things. And they're actually each other's best allies, but they've been pitted against each other to waste your time. And in reality, it's AI gives us some type of objective basis to start the journey as a society to move away from this tribalism, emotional, warlike state, which is a waste of resources at scale, to some sort of unification, some sort of let's be warlike in checking each other, but moving together towards saying we just want excellence. We want excellence. We don't really care how it's done. We don't care who's right about it, who's wrong. We don't really care whose feelings are hurt about it.
Mm-hmm.
And in understanding that's the process to get there.
I not too long ago, I kind of stepped away from the idea that cyberbullying even exists anymore, because that whole just, if you see it on the internet and people are making fun of you, it's like, it's not real. It can be turned off. You can walk away. I've been bullied and cyberbullied because now I don't believe it. But like, having a fist in the face is a lot different than being yelled at on the internet. And people don't understand, because bullying itself isn't actually a thing anymore. People don't throw punches, they just throw insults. So stepping away from the motion of the internet has become a great boon for me, because I'm like, I don't care. I understand that everybody does not understand. Like, even I, when I'm walking into a conversation, don't understand. The whole point of the conversation is to try and understand, and then work together towards something that kind of benefits both parties. Just doing that with AI, though, being able to remove the emotions gives you a lot of power, because you're okay with being told you're wrong. It's one of the reasons I don't use GPT, because it is so bad at saying, you've done great. And I'm like, just yell at me. Like, please, just stop being so sycophantic. Just tell me I'm wrong. I'm okay with being wrong. Even if you tell it that, it still tries to please you. Although we are finding out that the Soul and Fable working together actually makes amazing content and applications. They work they hate each other so much that they work well to build something else.
There's a balance of church and state right there.
Yeah. And I'm very interested to see what gets built out of that. So I do want to get back into your aiOS for a second here. What can you bring me to, like, what happened during your interview? Like, how did that go with your CEO? Like, this is something I can't get my head around, is you going into an interview and being like, oh, I have this project I can show you, and then them not giving you the job because you showed them the project. Can you walk me through that?
Yeah, so here's the honest truth. Here's what happened. I'm in this final stage, like, fifth interview, like we're just shaking hands, we're gonna go forward. And we start talking shop, very sharp CEO, very technically savvy. We start talking shop like this, where we go, oh, AGI is probably going to use infinite virtual machines to, essentially execute and replace workforce. And eventually we'll take that and use it as a harness that consciousness can drive. And he took it there, right? Because he's a technically savvy guy and wanted my insight on it to see if I aligned with where they were going as a company. And as we got into the weeds and we started to go into this like technical firepower of like what's actually going on here, I think he pretty quickly realized that I was not going to be a very good employee. And that's the truth,
Yeah.
right? Which was that an employee was going to be like, hey, what do you want me to do, boss? And was just going to push the design stack forward. I came in as a peer and said, here's the 20-year vision, here's the 5-year plan. And in the first year, I think that we should do this. We need data bricks, and then we spawn virtual machines off of a centralized data brick. We inject the credentials into the virtual machines, and then that becomes our agentic framework, which essentially blows up their organizational chart. And, after that interview, that's what happened.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, it's interesting when you get into the technical field, because being somebody who's been in the technical field, there's a understanding when you're having a conversation that like it's not always going to go the way you intended it to. And I think technical people are a little bit more okay with being wrong. Coming back to our previous conversation, but the thing I'm trying to get my head around is eventually we're all going to do this. So why are the old guard so entrenched?
Yeah, I think it's a natural instinct to preserve your worth. We as humans have identified our worth based on our contribution to the economic system. That is being threatened. Just outright, no way around it. It's being threatened. It's 90% of what we've made money doing is probably not valuable in the next decade. So the natural reaction is to defend it, to reject AI, to reject this, villainize it. But really, that's just a stage of denial. And I think we're in a denial stage as a culture. Eventually, we'll move through that. We're going through the grieving process, essentially.
I think we're also going to be a lucky generation in terms of, I think we're going to see this play out a lot longer than we think we are. I don't know if you've looked into the longevity research, but I honestly believe we're going to be living at least 100 years or more in the future. So we're actually going to be able to see the progression of...
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I'm in the boat of I want to be the face of Bo. Like, I would love to just sit and understand humanity through like centuries, to just kind of watch the progression. That somehow interests me because I'm a weirdo. But yeah. But I think we're actually going to come on a cusp of where we're going to see the death of jobs, the death of how humans actually interact. I see humans being beneficial in 4 sectors: exploration, entertainment, sciences, and then tourism. Are going to be the 4 places that humans are actually going to have any power in the future, or jobs in the future. Just because those are the ones where you're really diving into the human condition, right? You want human connection, so you're going to want tourism away from the digital realms and everything like that. You're going to want people to take you out to the forest and see things. Exploration, we're just always searching for the new thing, trying to find the new thing, trying to make ourselves better. So just keep on searching for more things to do. Sciences, again, more exploration, just in a different field. And then entertainment, because I don't think the computer's ever going to be good enough. I feel like humans are storytelling machines. We've been that for our entire lives. Our entire genetic makeup is essentially a storytelling machine. So I don't see us ever going away from that field. I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah. I think your synopsis is excellent. I think you're looking at it from the correct perspective of zooming back into centuries, right? Which I think a lot of people are like, I got to survive this week. When you step back and you start to look at human patterns over centuries, some things start to emerge, right? that's why I love Stoicism. Stoicism philosophy I find fascinating because 2 millennia ago, stuff is written that's true today, which tells you, oh, these guys did not have iPhones, but they're saying things that get at the root of humanity and now still apply. But humans as a storytelling machine, as an economic unit, that will persist. I agree with you, that right now, unfortunately, we are just kind of economic units that are used by humans. That eventually switches to where AI will use us as economic units, but our attention, what we decide to put value towards, that will be what's left, right? We won't necessarily be generating that value, but us as people that say, yes, that is good. Yes, this makes me feel this way. That is where economic units go, right? And the entire internet is based on that right now. AI algorithms trying to figure out where is good value. This video has good emotional value, so it goes viral. That's trying to figure that out now in a primitive form. But yeah, computers are just generation 1, super primitive, silicone, metal, non-self-healing. Much more advanced is biological simulations, biological suits. Even more advanced than that is multidimensional consciousness awareness, which is what we talked about with the consciousness OS. Our brain is a hallucination processing unit. So it's stitching together a narrative of what reality is after it's already happened. They've actually shown this. It's not in real time. So it's hallucinating what is happening. It's creating a narrative for what's happening. And the natural next step would be, why are we creating stuff in a third density? Why not use the brain as the hallucination device it is and have controlled alpha brainwave states or delta brainwave states, whatever, to hallucinate an actual controlled reality? And that is probably, I see social media as a generation 1 of that, which is, we're going to pretend like we're on a beach in Bali right now, but it's a screen. And then we're going to relax and look at a big screen, and Tom Cruise is up there, and we pretend like we're Tom Cruise. And then we're going to go to work on a medium-sized screen. So we're already doing this. The natural progression of that is, let's stop pretending. And, early versions of that are like a VR headset or whatever. But eventually you just go, boom, straight to the root of the problem, which is your brain is the one that's creating the entire narrative. So cut out the middleman, go straight to it. You don't need the eye processing. And I'm guessing quantum computers with AGI are going to create that for us in our lifetime. Not saying I agree with that, not saying I disagree with that. I'm just saying I don't have the ability to stop that. So my focus then becomes, how do I get involved? And how do I carve out a generative and meaningful version of this, an empowering version of this for me, my friends, my tribe, the world, if we get that type of exposure, where it becomes something that is empowering for us, because it has the potential to be.
How do you discuss with people who don't want to touch AI? How do you bring them into at least using it?
I think using it, I'll say, look, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't think this is going away. And I think resisting it is going to hurt you because you're not going to be able to adapt. And people 10 years ago that said social media is a bunch of crap are now suffering because if they got involved in that, they could actually make money from it, right? So this AI is the exact same thing on steroids, which is if you can't beat them, join them. You're not going to beat AI. It's not going away. You need to join it, and you need to find a way to live peacefully with it right now.
How do you,
'Cause it's
this
your
is one
best
thing that I
chance at
don't understand,
value
because
in
I
the
use
marketplace.
AI like way more than the average user. How do you define, like, doing just personal things? How do you like showcase that you're somebody who does those things? Because this is becoming more of a like do quietly at home, not in public type of deal. And I feel like people are going to be asking questions that are personal and stuff like that. So how do you relate to like a potential employer or a customer that you use and leverage AI without? Yeah, that might have been.
I'm sorry.
So I'm just thinking in terms
give,
of
give me
like
another angle here. I'm not landing
the
it.
foreseeable future. People are going to be using AI everywhere. How do you showcase that you're a better AI user than somebody else right now?
Oh, yeah. There we go. Results, right? So genius is measured by results. The difference between a crazy person and a genius is results. It's not the idea. It's not anything else, right? So showing you're a better AI user becomes, I used Claude just like everybody else, but my sales are X. My videos are X. My subscribers are X.
I
That
like that a
becomes the only
lot
metric.
better than how it's currently
That's it.
going, because nobody really. This is the problem with tech right now: is you don't really know who's done what. Everything's based off of human trust, and we are going into a society that is going to be entirely lacking trust. That is my other concern: is we're building a world with no trust, coming from a world that was very high trust only a couple generations ago. But I feel like that's kind of our own undoing when we brought in bad actors with social media and bots and all that fun stuff. But I digress.
Yeah, it becomes, I truly believe in the self-balancing capabilities of society and money and markets. I don't think we should be messing with it. And I think every time you have a polarization, there's a swing back. So what we're seeing right now is because there's a lack of trust, now you have a swing in content that says raw, ugly content that feels real performs better. And then you also see, and this is something with aiOS that we had to do, is you got to show receipts up front. So instead of going, hey, download my thing and use aiOS, we have to go for free and bite the bullet. We have to go, here's a free scrape of everything. We're going to scrape your website and your Instagram for free. We're going to roast it, or we're going to go through the proper onboarding. We're going to create a brand MD. We're going to create a voice MD. We're going to show, hey, here's your competitors. Here's the holes in the market. Here's what we want to automate. Here's what we want to connect to. Here's our master plan. You want to do it, right? And all of that happens before a credit card comes in. And then on top of that, when you put in the credit card, it also says 3-day free trial, right? And that is what is required because of the lack of trust, right? That's what's required to go, okay, you know what? I'll give it a shot. And then even at that point, now we have to really deliver in that first week. And that becomes the game, right? But value given upfront, receipts shown upfront.
I do have
back
to
the
the operating system.
To the lack
How
of
does
trust.
it? Is the user able to like add their own context? Like, hey, I have this brand guide, I have this, so that all gets done through text message as well? Oh, okay.
Yes, you have a dashboard. So there is a web dashboard and a web chat that you can fully do everything with. The iMessage is more of a convenience. But yeah, you have memories,
Okay.
and in memories you could dump everything, and you're encouraged to do so. Whether it's extracting from your existing Claude or ChatGPT, whether it's dumping all
My
of your
eight
SOPs
my
and
800 gigs of content that I've
emails and whatever it
uploaded.
is, those things are helpful, right? Exactly. And then it becomes our job to, create that, to make that usable, and then with continuous learning, start to figure you out more and more. But yeah, we're basically a democratized AI system where we're saying we're not political in any way. If we think ChatGPT is going to do something better, or Claude, or Higgsfield, or Meta, or TikTok, or whoever, Nano Banana, Gemini, we're going to use that, and we're going to hide the complexity of all those choices and setups.
Well, not only that,
so
this is
that
one thing that
you
I
just are
have to get
focused on
over to
the
people, but
human
being
stuff.
model agnostic really helps bring down costs, because you don't care. As long as the model can do what you need it to do, it doesn't matter. And it means that Claude and OpenAI and all these big companies can't just change the pricing model on you and you be left with a bag. This is one of the concepts I keep on trying to tell people is you want to own your context and not just be handing it directly to one of these services, because the moment they change their prices, you're screwed. Very fair.
Yeah, but thank God that we have both OpenAI and Anthropic, right? Thank God that, and then plus we've got the Chinese just copying it, and we have an open source market starting, which is back to that fundamental belief that the markets will always self-balance. Thank God we have that, right? At least we have some form of
I hope it stays that way. I know there's a lot going on with the US and how they're dealing with AI legislation. So that's my only concern. But I know China's just going to go full on board. Like, we want to build this. So I'm not too worried about the competition that way. So we are coming up to the end here. I just want to give you the last 5 minutes to say who you are, where you're at, and any final advice you have for the audience.
Yeah, so you know what, guys? I was just a kid, 17, riding my bicycle, figured out how to code, and worked for some big brands. But now I'm trying to figure out how to make us all successful and happy and rich in the future with AI in some way. And I'm building in public, live. I want to hear negative and positive feedback. I want to grow with you guys. Like, I'm putting my heart out there, trying to do stuff the right way. And I encourage you to do the same. If I think we're in an era where authenticity matters. So pick up the phone, start talking to people. You'll find the right people. Put out your stuff on Instagram. Use AI to build your idea, to build your skill set. No cells happening here. Claude out of the box, connecting it to Higgsfield and some of these other things. It's fantastic. Give it the right context. It is incredible. If that overwhelms you, use aiOS. I've done my best to make that easy. And if you use aiOS and it doesn't blow your socks off, send me a DM on Gabe Campbell Official. I read all the DMs.
Fair enough. And I appreciate that you're doing that. I will make sure everything is down in the description down below. To everybody out there, please reach out if you need anything. I love to talk to you. Please like, comment, subscribe, all the bullshit I'm supposed to tell you. To everybody out there, thank you for listening, and stay weird.